And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans, to our pre-Halloween extravaganza. We are thrilled to welcome back to the show for the fourth time Tess Gerritsen, here to give us the inside scoop on her brand new red hot ice cold book, The Spy Coast. Tess, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Well, maybe I should tell you where the idea came from.
Tell us all the things.
So when I moved to Maine 33 years ago, my husband opened up a medical practice. We live in a little town, and he would always ask his patients for an occupational history. And more than once, they would say, I used to work for the government. And he said, well, what did you do for the government? And they would say, I can't talk about it. And he began to realize there's something a little odd about this town. So we asked around, and it was a realtor who told us, oh, they're all retired CIA. And I found out that on my little street where we were living, there were 2 retired spies on our street. I found out that the parents of my son's really good friend, they were married CIA spies who had retired. So it was like, who are all these people and why are they coming to Maine? Why are they retiring here? And that's what got the idea going, because I thought, you know, all these people, I see them every day in the library. I see them at the post office, and they look ordinary. They look like regular people. Some of them have silver hair. What are their lives really like? So that got the whole idea going for The Spy Coast. And it's about a 60-year-old woman who's a chicken farmer. Her name is Maggie Bird. She doesn't talk about her past, but we find out pretty soon that she's a very good shot. And then a dead body shows up on her driveway, and people realize, oh my gosh, you know, what is going on here? And she knows what it is. It's a calling card from her past, and it's coming to catch up with her. So she has to call on her very good friends who happen to live in the same town. They're all retired spies. And we get to see what 60, 70-year-old spies do after they retire.
Well, Tess, I am so excited to welcome you back to Mystery and Thriller Mavens, and I am so excited to talk all things about The Spy Coast because, oh my God, you guys, I am loving this book. I'm loving this book. Tess Gerritsen has kept me up, no lie, until 2:30 every morning reading this book. And now I'm starting to slow my pace down because I don't want it to end. I need more Maggie Bird and Joe Thibodeau and all of the amazing characters. And we're going to get into every delicious detail, but I want to know what questions you have. So we are broadcasting live to 7 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So, hey, mystery and thriller loving friends, no matter where you're watching from, you're in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, and because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make them a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start with this very special pre-Halloween extravaganza. We've had we've had Lee Child, Andrew Child, and now our star act, Tess Gerritsen. So any questions you have for Tess, get them going in the comments. Renee, welcome to the conversation, saying hi, Sara and Tess from Southeast Florida. Hi, Renee, welcome. Robin, welcome, saying hello, Sara. You look marvelous. Oh, thank you, Robin. I'm investigating all the best books in crime fiction today, and that is my costume. We have Marcy joining us from Hull, Massachusetts. Hi, Marcy McCreary. Renee is saying she is looking forward to reading The Spy Coast. Oh my God, Renee, you are going to love this book. So we have multiple points of view. So we've got Maggie Bird, who is a chicken farmer, really a CIA. Now, Tess, you get into a lot of details about birds, including the different colors of their eggs. Do you have chickens? How do you know about chickens?
My son had a flock of about 70 chickens, and I would have to babysit them when he'd go away. So I know about chickens, and I know about eggs, and I know about how delicious they can be, but I also know they're a lot of work.
What? So and I don't know how to say this, Arcana,
Araucana. Yes,
Araucana.
They actually do lay these beautiful, sometimes bluish, greenish eggs. They look like Easter eggs. And so my son would have layers that would do brown, white, speckled, and these blue ones. And he'd always arrange them in the carton so they look very pretty. And then he'd sell them at the farmer's market, and they'd always go out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was wondering, so that's the first question I had is how the heck does Tess Gerritsen know anything about chickens? Because there's a scene in the book where a patron in a restaurant starts choking and a character has to slice open their neck to get some air going. And I thought, oh yeah, Tess Gerritsen's a doctor, but how the heck does she know about chickens? So now we know.
Yes,
That,
now you know.
oh my God.
They're nice. They're very nice animals, but roosters can be really, what I discovered is that roosters are really, they're sexual harassers. These poor hens, they were bothered by the roosters. I mean, it was like, get it down to one rooster. That's all you need. No more.
Wait, I didn't know that.
Yes, they
Oh my
are.
God, that is crazy. Okay, okay. I'm learning even more about about chickens. Thank you. And thank you, Tess. Oh my God. Robin is saying, so we learned very early in the book that Maggie Bird is a great shot thanks to her CIA training. Robin's saying, for some strange reason, I'm a very good shot as well. I think I'm going to like this book. So, I think you will like this book because not only is Maggie Bird a great shot, she is a badass, kick-ass female character. Tess, why did you want to write this book now?
Well, now because I'm getting older and I identify with what it's like to be, to get older and to have people not pay attention to you anymore, or to start feeling like you're ignored when you have so many things and so much knowledge to share. So I thought it would be interesting to have these really smart people, these 5 smart people who are all retirees. Everybody thinks, oh, they're just, gray-haired people. They just work at libraries and things. And it turns out when they get together for martinis, once a month, because they have a book club, they trade gossip, they trade intelligence, and they also work together to solve the crimes that the local cop she's just a little bit behind them, but she's a very smart cop. So it'd be just fun to see, for a change, older people outsmart everybody else.
Ooh, now let's talk about, so your second point of view, Joe Thibodeau has just taken over as police chief of the little town of Purity. Tell us about writing her.
Well, she is very much like the really solid Mainers that I know here. I mean, I've lived here for 3 decades. Joe is a multi-generational Mainer. She knows her town. She protects her town. She's a very smart, hard driving, kind of like a bulldog. She will chase everything down, but she doesn't have this international sophistication that these other 5 people do. She doesn't have out of her fingertips ways to come up with intelligence that the way they do. So when she first encounters them during the investigation of this dead body in Maggie's driveway, she thinks, who are these people? Why do they always show up at crime scenes? And I thought that was fun to watch that conflict between young and old, between local and people from away.
One of my favorite scenes is when the local police show up when the dead body arrives in Maggie's driveway, and they're like, oh, can we notice you have a security camera up there, could we take a peek? And Maggie says, oh sure. She leads them into her battered old laptop, which has a screensaver of course, a chicken. And they're thinking that she's this doddering old lady chicken farmer. And then she logs in, a 24 character super secret password, her fingers flying as fast as she get. And then all of a sudden is this state of the art 16 security cameras, high definition. And they're like, who is this lady? Tess, I laughed out loud. I literally laughed out loud. That was such a great, because you capture it so well of like, oh, ma'am, granny chicken lady, can we look at your security camera? She's like, pshaw.
Like, oh, yes, exactly. It's a space age stuff she has in her old farm.
Oh my God, I love it. We have a mystery user saying hello from Minnesota. Ooh, very CIA, very undercover. I'm loving it. Debbie, welcome to the conversation. She says, Tess, did you interview your neighbors who are ex-CIA for details of the book? I am reading it now, and it's very interesting.
I know who they are. I know who some of them are, but they don't talk. So I really got a lot of my information, and this is what I love to do when I plunge myself into a new culture, is read memoirs. So I read a ton of CIA memoirs by people who have been in the business and who talk about it. And I was really after the emotional toll of being in the agency. What is it like to not really be able to trust people? What does that do to your communication with your spouse? So I relied on memoirs and a lot of local gossip. It's funny. It's like one of the worst kept secrets in Maine that we have a ton of CIA people here. We all know it. We all talk about it. The only thing that we're all wondering is, how did they all end up here? Why are they here?
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of different theories from various people. One is that the realtor says, "Oh, they have a retirement magazine, and the retirement magazine said this was a great place to retire to." I kind of doubt that. Um, I think that, word of mouth gets them here. It's also that people in Maine they're very respectful of your privacy. They don't go prying.
Mm.
And there's also this almost critical mass of people in the mid-coast who are ex-State Department, a lot of people from the Foreign Service. So you have people with an international, view of what's happening in the country and around the world. And finally, there was, I don't want to talk too much about it, but there was a bit of an operation up here in the mid-coast by the CIA. They did have a history here of some projects that they were working on. And this was also a state where I think they had a lot of safe houses.
Interesting. We have another mystery user saying hello, but that's her signature code hello. So I think that's Leslie from Canada. Because guess what, Leslie? I'm not. I'm a detective I'm a crime fiction writer by day, and a detective by night. Robin saying most of us of a certain age have a bizarre skill set, and I think it's wonderful that you're embracing them. Yes. Well,
Yes,
said.
it's sad because as we retire, some of this wisdom is not being passed on. When I did a book called Gravity about the space station, and I was talking to a lot of real old timers who were working in the old Apollo project, and people who remember what it was like to send a rocket to the moon. Well, they're all gone, and now they have to look back at all the records and find the history of old wisdom, things they've tried, things that didn't work, because the old guys are gone.
Ooh, yeah, exactly. And I think it's interesting because in our culture, in some other cultures, for instance, the Chinese culture, maturity and old age are prized and praised and valued. But in
Yes.
American culture, it's kind of like this: go take a nap, go away. But there is a wealth of information that we are losing because we're not tapping into that. And that's a really great point. Thank you.
Well, some of it is the arrogance of youth. And you know what it's like. When you're young, you think, "Oh, Dad, he doesn't know anything. My parents are clueless, blah, blah, blah." And it's only when they become adults that they thought, actually, Dad did know quite a bit. Dad could do things with his hands that I can't do. He knows how to repair cars. Yeah, there's a whole generation of kids who don't know how to work with their hands. And that wisdom is disappearing as well.
Exactly. Y'all, the book, you'll want to get your hands on this book. I'm telling you, I am devouring it. I am truly loving this book, and you can pre-order from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. So grab your copy here, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, click and order and get your hands on the Spy Coast now. Let's get into some of these other questions. Patricia, welcome to the conversation, saying, "I can't wait to read The Spy Coast. I love books set in Maine. Chicken babysitting, really?"
Moms will go out of their way to help their kids, don't they? I think he was gone for 2 weeks. Now I have to add, it was not just chickens I had to babysit. I had to babysit his sheep and his Scottish Highland cattle. And it was the cattle that got to me because they kept escaping. And they have these giant horns, right? So you're trying to get them back in the pen, and they don't want to get back in the pen. And you're thinking, they could kill me.
How many of these animals were you babysitting, Tess?
Well, I guess it was, if you count the 70 chickens in this flock, it was quite a few.
Wow.
That's when I discovered that the old thing about, sheep not being very smart was absolutely true.
Really? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So we are learning a lot about Tess Gerritsen tonight, chicken, sheep, and cattle wrangler. We're learning so much, you all. See, this is what the thing is. At Mystery Thriller Maves, you never know what you're going to learn. Renee wants to know, do the people, that's a good question, actually discuss the books at their book club?
They start off doing so, but they always end up with martinis and wine. And you know how that, you know what happens after that.
Like most book clubs, you know,
Yeah. So it's fun to talk about this fictional book club and choose which books are going to be talking about that
that
month.
is I did want to ask you about that. So I actually had to look up that book because I was like, wait, this is, how did you choose, why that book?
I just happen to have a copy of that in my personal library. You know, the travels of this one man in the 1500s, and I thought, well, that's something the CIA might be interested in. So yeah, I get obscure books for my fictional book group.
I love it. Marcy saying, I'm loving all these crime novels coming out with older female kick-ass protagonists, ensemble cast, like Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn, which I interviewed her last September, The Change, and the Thursday Murder Club series. Absolutely. And high time. And let's see more of that, I say. And I'm telling you, Marcy, you're going to really love this. Robin's wondering if the CIA agents maybe feel safer with others from a similar past.
Oh, I think that's absolutely true. That's part of the reason they gathered together. And you know, it's true for I think probably police officers often seem to find themselves in the same states in the country. They can talk with each other. They feel safe with each other. I have heard that, you know, so much of this is rumor. Okay, so I'm not going to say this for sure, but I have heard that they can identify each other's cars because of something they've done to the cars. Some little paint signature that tells them, oh, this is a friend's car right here. I should keep an eye out for it. And I also think that part of the joy of being in this part of Maine is that we do have these really educated people, and we have pretty much it's a world famous meeting here every year in the winter. It's called the Camden Conference, and we bring in CIA, we bring in diplomats from around the world to talk about world affairs. It's open to the public. But I remember thinking, how does a little town of 5,000 people manage to attract former politicians from other countries to come and talk to this little town? And I think it's because we have people with the contacts here.
Very interesting. Renee wants to know, do relocated people in the witness protection plan also program also end up in Maine too?
Well, I had heard that that's part of the reason that CIA retires here, is that in the past, maybe in the 50s and 60s, this was a place that they would park people to be safe. I mean, there's a lot of trees here. there's a lot of places to hide, and it would be an obvious place to put a safe house, because there's like nobody around to see who you are.
Indeed. Sharon, welcome to the conversation, saying this sounds very intriguing. I'm telling you, Sharon, it is so great. We have a mystery user saying, I'm about to start this one. I have an advanced reader copy. Oh my gosh, you are going to love it. Someone else saying Maine is my favorite, is my happy place. Renee saying she pre-ordered the Spy Coast. Tess, happy early pub day.
Thank you.
Yay. Sharon saying you are such a great mom. I know. Tess, chicken babysitter, cattle herder, sheep wrangler. The list goes on. Robin saying, and the older women are gone too, mostly lost to history as never included. She is so thankful for Hidden Figures. Yes, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, and it's in every field, you know, medical, from the woman who started, I think it was the woman who started Social Security. It was a woman, right? And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then, you know, there were so many women scientists who did not get their due. Women who should have gotten the Nobel Prize but were overlooked because the men took over. And then, like Hidden Figures, all those women mathematicians who figured out all the trajectories of space flight. So without books, we would not know about them.
Exactly. Such a great point. Sharon saying she's only ever been part of online book clubs, so she has to do her wine drinking alone.
Oh, that's a shame. What's fun about this book is that if when they have their book clubs, they also it's also a potluck. And so these 5 people bring in food from recipes they've gathered from their many years abroad. And so they get to eat all kinds of interesting foods as they're talking about their books or not talking about the book.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, she was in Bangkok, so she's going to bring this. So she lived here, she's going to bring a lamb stew. And to see all of those influences from curries and spicy flavors from their years of being embedded in various countries, I love that. That was such a nice touch. Jennifer, welcome to the conversation, saying, I live in a small town in Maine and my best friend lives in Houston. So we have visited Murder by the Book together. This is such a fun clash of worlds for me. Oh my God, Jennifer, you're meant to be here. This is a clash of worlds, a book about Maine from an author by Maine with me who's in Boston, but in partnership with Murder by the Book in Houston. And we're all united in our love of mysteries and thrillers. So,
and Murder by the Book, what a great store that is. I've been there a couple of times too. I love it.
Yay. And thanks to Murder by the Book, you can pre-order tonight and get your mitts on the Spy Coast. You're not going to want to miss this red hot, ice cold, twisty thriller. Here is the link. You're going to want to pre-order now. And the good folks at Murder by the Book will send it out to you tomorrow morning. So grab your copy.
Yeah.
So Booklist has awarded you a starred review, as has Kirkus. Congratulations on that. Let's take a peek at the review. Booklist raving, Gerritsen branches out into the world of espionage, expertly mixing spy drama with romance and wry comedy. Gerritsen fans and readers of Richard Osman's Thursday Murder Club mysteries will love this. Well said. Publishers Weekly raving, the plot bustles along nicely, careening from Thailand to Italy and many points in between. But the real surprise is the richness of Gerritsen's supporting cast, a cantankerous bunch whose love for one another runs deep. Oh, that's so beautiful, Tess. Congratulations on that. Let's talk about that Kirkus starred review, because Kirkus praise don't come cheap.
No.
So this is I think we're all terrified of Kirkus, right? This is a nice take on retirement. 5 old spooks whose bones may ache, but whose minds remain sharp. You can expect mystery, action, and bloodshed in this exciting thriller launched straight from the peaceful shores of Maine. Again, a starred review from Kirkus. Congratulations, Tess, and so well earned. And they're not the only ones raving. In fact, our prior guest, New York Times bestselling author Lee Child, had some wonderful words of praise as well. Let's take a peek at that. Lee raving, powerful, resonant, absorbing. I'm going to pop this up so we can all read it together. Freighted with menace and suspense, Gerritsen is a born storyteller, and this new series showcases her talents more than ever. Irresistible and highly recommended, says Lee Child, the #1 New York Times bestselling author of the Jack Reacher series. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lee. that meant a lot to me to hear that, because I think that he also, we're all getting older, and I think we're just all looking back at our lives and wanting to bring that richness into our books. And that's I think what we're all probably identifying with in this particular story.
Oh, well, Tess, I am just absolutely loving this book. And it's so wonderful to see your work honored. David Baldacci also raving. Tess Gerritsen writes in a smoothly elegant story. It's always a delight to read her. I mean, I just could go on and on. Tess, I mean, you tell us what you have learned from your storied career, which only continues to elevate you elevate your craft and continue to challenge yourself as a storyteller. Tell us, what you've learned and what you hope to continue to rise to.
Well, I think what I've learned is that write what you want to write about. Don't listen to anybody else, okay? Because I've been given bad advice again and again. Once writers feel like they get stuck in this box. Oh, they've been writing romantic suspense, for 10 books. I got to keep on writing romantic suspense. Well, no. What if you want to write a ghost story? What if you write a science fiction? Now, I know it's supposed to be out of brand. You're supposed to be branding yourself. But to last a long time in this business, and I've been writing for 36 years now, the only way I could have survived this long was to do what I really wanted to do. And I think that otherwise you feel bored, you feel trapped, you get stuck in a drawer. And the fun of this profession is writing the stories that really move you.
Oh, I love that. Catherine saying, okay, I am adding this to my TBR ASAP, right, Catherine, you are sold because this book is so great. Renee saying such fantastic reviews. Absolutely, absolutely. Robin saying, yes, this book is now on my list
Well, thank
too.
you. I should add something too that Amazon Studios has optioned it, so we are hoping for development. I think they're thinking about television.
Oh
So
my God. I can
let's hope there'll be a Maine-based television show out of this.
Yay! Oh my God, Tess, I can totally see this. I mean, from the opening scene with the fox and, and I mean, all of these characters are so vivid. Lester Yount, her next door neighbor, her cantankerous, next door neighbor, his granddaughter, Callie, retired professor from MIT. Like you said, capturing that intellectual vibrancy of Maine. But this, wonderfully, sort of crazy, cantankerous,
Well,
imagined
what's so much fun about Maine is that you have these really, brilliant and accomplished people, and you can't tell because they drive around in these old cars, they wear tattered jeans, they don't cut their hair, they have beards, because here you can get away with that. You don't have to dress up. I don't think I've ever seen anybody in a tuxedo ever in the state of Maine. And yet we have people who are brilliant scientists, and we have movie stars, and we have all kinds of celebrities up here. And this is where they can let down their hair and be who they really are.
Well, I think you're going to have a whole lot more celebrities now that Amazon Studios has optioned the series. Oh my God, Tess, congratulations. I can't wait to see the stampede of stars, going up there to film this on site. I'm so excited. Renee saying, wow, congratulations. Oh my God, we're all so excited. Catherine saying, wowzers, terrific. Sharon saying, you are one of my go-to authors. Absolutely. We're all just so excited to see this. Tess, who would you see as your Maggie Bird?
Of course, we all see Helen Mirren, right? Because of Red. It's hard. Yeah, Helen Mirren. I try not to cast things in my head because I'm always taken aback when I finally see who they do cast. But I think this is a wonderful opportunity for actors who may not be getting any roles because they're in their 60s and 70s. It's not easy on American television to keep that career going as an actor.
Oh my God, we have so many. I mean, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin. I mean, there's so Dame Maggie. Oh my gosh, what's her name? Smith, Dame Maggie Smith. I mean, Kathleen Turner. Oh my gosh, my brain is just exploding. I'm so excited.
And then the men too. I mean, we've got some gorgeous men in the story too. So.
Who would be Danny Gallagher?
In their 70s. Oh, yeah, Danny. Oh, Danny, my beautiful, beautiful young Danny.
Beautiful British Danny.
Yes.
Welcome to the conversation, AGL, saying, I love Tess books. I'm missing New England this time of year. I'm now along the seacoast of Scotland. Yes, Maine folk dress down, even if wealthy. It's the same in Vermont. Yes, that very New England.
Yes. They're practical, and the great thing is that the other thing is their cars. I mean, I have never seen such junky cars driven by such wealthy people.
Oh my gosh, it's so true, and it is uniquely New England. This sort of very puritanical, modest.
Right. Nobody likes to stick out here.
This is not LA. This is not Hollywood.
They don't like to stick out. We probably have one of the lowest purchases of makeup in the country. I think nobody here wears makeup unless they have to go on camera.
Oh my God, I love it. Well, Luann Rice raving about your ability to capture everything from small town in Maine to life in Bangkok, raving that your book is ingenious and spellbinding and utterly thrilling, full of morally complex characters with deeply buried secrets and a life and death chase into the past. I loved that from her and loved hosting her for her last book. Kathy Reichs deeming this a riveting tale filled with engaging characters. I look forward to the rest of the series. Tess, I noticed as I was reading that you have a seemingly effortless way of weaving back and forth between dual timelines of, now 24 years ago, 16 years ago, you're going back and forth between timelines seemingly effortlessly. And it's your ability to reference things from the past that make me want to know who the heck is Danny Gallagher? What's going to happen to him? You know, where is he now? What happened all those years ago in Malta? I've got to know what happened with Operation Cyrano. What do you think? You know, you said 36 years you've been at this. What is the most important, ingredient to building suspense?
Oh, knowing who your characters are and always having them keep secrets from the reader. It's, I think we don't need to find out necessarily who the killer is. We don't really care who the killer is. That's just like the thing that pulls you forward, like like when you're making a cat chase after something on a string. The reason we keep at this, reading the book, following these people, is we want to know who they are and what their own personal journey is. So yeah, there's a dead body in Maggie's driveway, but that's not what you really read this for. You read this to find out, why is she such a haunted woman? What happened in her past? So I think that it really all starts off with creating a character we really, really are engaged by. They don't have to be good people. They don't even have to be people you like, but they have to be fascinating.
I'm going to be thinking about this for the next several days because that is so interesting, Tess. I thought I was reading it to learn who
the dead body
was and why he staged the body in her driveway in that particular position. These are things I need to know. But you're right. I need to know what happened to Maggie to make her so sad and so that living in Maine, when this is a woman who loves heat, who loves spice, who loved living in Istanbul, what made her move to very cold, snowy Maine? Because she said that's the last place they'd look for her. I need to know, who are they? Why would they look for her? What has happened? But what do you think? So you're right. I am reading for this character. So how do you build a quote fascinating character? How do you build someone that I care so deeply about?
It comes in little things. I think it's just little details that come to you as you're writing. I mean, I don't write a character sketch ahead of time. I just start with a voice. I just hear Maggie's voice saying, I'm not the woman I used to be. I'm here. I've been driven here by circumstances. It's not where I wanted to be, but here I am now, and I'm gonna make a new life. And you think, what happened to you? And as I just, I started off with the dead body, and I thought, well, I have no idea what this means, that there's a body in our driveway. But little by little, you get to a point where you think, oh, it's time for a flashback. And then you go back and see Maggie as a younger woman when she meets her husband, and what happens to that love affair. I wish I could tell you I knew what I was doing. I really don't. I liken it to being a fantastic gymnast. They can do all these twirls and twirls, right? But they can't really tell you how they do it. They just do it.
Interesting. So, Tess, when you say that you heard this voice of "I'm Maggie," were you literally just sitting at your kitchen table, making some coffee, having some coffee, or tending to your son's chickens, and you heard a voice saying, "I'm Maggie. I'm haunted. This is not who I used to be"? Did you hear a woman's voice say that?
Yes, I heard an older woman say, "I'm not the woman I used to be." And in fact, I think I might have been in bed, and I got up, and I have a little notepad next to my bed, and I just wrote that down. I am not the woman I used to be. And I thought, what does that mean? And sometimes that's like the first thing that starts a story, is a character saying something puzzling to you. And I find that if you can hear their voice in your head, you can tell so much about them. You can tell, well, just like anybody's voice, you can tell their age, you can tell whether they're male or female, you can tell their educational level by their vocabulary, by whether or not they're humorous or they're not humorous. And that character is really what's going to be driving you forward, that voice.
Oh, Tess, I love it. So you're just laying in bed one night and you hear an older woman's voice say, "I'm not the woman I used to be." You write it down, and that's how Maggie Bird came to you.
Right. And the first thing I thought was, okay, she's not the woman she used to be because her joints ache. She has, she says, I used to be able to jump out of a sports car in high heels. And I thought, why would she do that? So these little details come in. I think that the very first scene is she's protecting her flock of chickens. There's a fox that's bothering her chickens, so she has to shoot the fox. And you watch her do it in one shot, and you think, what's there? Why is she so good with the rifle? These little mysteries that I present to the reader are also mysteries that were presented to me by Maggie.
Ooh.
You never know. I mean, it's one of these things where writers forget they left the gun on the mantelpiece. They put it in there at an earlier scene, and they don't know why they did that. But maybe 2/3 of the way through the story, they think, "Hey, I left a gun on the mantelpiece. I can use that particular detail." So we're always laying down details that seem trivial at the time that maybe don't mean anything, but
Ooh.
they come back. They come back and are useful to either explaining your character or helping you further the plot.
Oh, Tess, I love that. I love that. Um, Sharon saying the mystery of a mystery writer and their craft. Indeed. And we are getting an inside scoop. Stacy, welcome to the conversation, saying, I think I need to go and hang out at a coffee shop in Camden to eavesdrop. Exactly. Lisa saying, oh my, this was such a great read. Renee saying, is there any way to get leaded gasoline? AGL saying, yes, junkers for cars, but excellent home studies or libraries. Oh,
Yes, and probably guns too.
oh gosh, yeah, exactly. Well, CJ Box raving Tess Gerritsen is a brilliant must-read novelist. Let's pop this up so we can all read it. This excellent praise from CJ Box. And she has done it again with the Spy Coast. Readers will want to follow the adventures of Maggie Bird and her band of Mainer compatriots for a long, long time. Well said, Mr. Box. Patricia saying this will be on my to read list. It sounds so good. I love a murder mystery with interesting characters. Y'all order the book tonight. You will thank me later, and I am going to buy one lucky winner a copy because that's how much I love this book. So I'm going to go through the comments. Tell me you're watching if you haven't commented already, so that I can make sure to include you, and be sure to pre-order. Tess Gerritsen, it has been such a mind-opening, heart-filling, thought-provoking time to interview you again. Thank you so much for coming back. Anne Cleves also saying she loved it, calling it a hugely entertaining read. Don't trust me, trust Anne Cleves. Tess, thank you so much for coming on. Y'all, if you haven't commented yet, comment now so that I know you are here and can consider you in the giveaway. Tess, I cannot wait for Maggie Bird book 2 in the Martini Book Club series. Jill saying she is watching and anxious to read this book. Randy, welcome to the conversation. So good to see you and your little black cat. Perfect for Halloween. Patricia saying she likes my hat. Thank you. This is my Halloween costume. Tess, you have to come back when book 2 is out, okay?
I sure will.
All right, y'all, that is a wrap on Mystery Monday. I hope your week is, I'm seeing the comments scrolling. I see you all. Keep it going. That is a wrap on Mystery Monday. Hope your week is off to a killer start. Have a very happy Halloween tomorrow, and I will see you all next week. Take very good care until then.